Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Competitive Excellence Series. Today we'll be discussing buzzwords and trends to be aware of. I'm Aubrey Mcguire, a junior at Arrowhead High School, and this is my third year in DECA. I'm also one of the Wisconsin DECA District 5 ambassadors and co-president of Arrowhead DECA as well. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or also reach out to my Instagram at obs.mcguire. To begin, let's discuss the importance of being industry savvy. One thing I found a lot of success in bringing up in both written event presentations and role plays is analogies to connect to current events or trending topics. I've just found that this offers ways for judges to really understand my point or my pitch. For example, a few years ago, I had a key performance indicator or KPI regarding the need for continuing education, specifically in the finance career cluster. I then came up with an analogy to smartphones and how you want to update the software, keep up to date with different versions and updates. And then this just really allowed my judge to understand my point, and as well as staying up to date in that career cluster, connecting it to the phones. To stay up to date with what most people are familiar with in the industry is to be versatile. You're able to be thrown into a scenario and hold your own, be an active participation in conversations. Specifically, with increasing prevalence of artificial intelligence or AI, it is key to be knowledgeable about its implications for futures and jobs, to answer any questions, and quell any fears. Another key piece to note is to avoid even impartially mentioning political events unless they expressively impact economic or consumer trends. You want to maintain your professional credibility and get rid of the chance of any perceived bias from coworkers, bosses, clients. Just get rid of any chance of that. Moving on to the importance of having significant statistics handy that stem from being industry savvy is that you have proven data to support any claims and dissuade any opposition. Knowing certain vague numbers in the industry can make you sound more credible, more professional, along with the confidence that you gain knowing these facts. A simple AI has been foreseen to take over blank percent of jobs by the year blank will increase your judge's trust in your presentation, along with increasing your chances of DECA glass. Shifting gears to talking about key buzzwords. A buzzword is a word or phrase sometimes referred to as field-specific jargon. They are used frequently in their respective fields. I'll be defining some buzzwords for each of the DECA clusters. First up is hospitality and tourism. Ecotourism is tourism that is focused on experiencing the environment while highlighting conservation, local support, and education of travelers. Experience economy is an economic concept where businesses create memorable experiences focusing on the emotional value gained from engagement. Influence partnerships are collaborations between a brand and an influencer involving social media in order to promote goods, services, and or campaigns. Target markets are who businesses is primarily focused on promoting their product to, whether it be through demographics, psychographics, geographics, or buying behavior. Next up is marketing. Brand authenticity is how a customer perceives a brand and if they are genuine and whether they're true to their values and brand statement. The bandwagon effect is customers using a specific good or service just because others are doing so because of popularity. The mere exposure effect is the tendency of people to develop a preference for things just because they're familiar with them. Omnichannel campaigns is the delivery of a marketing campaign through different channels, whether it be offline or online, just so there's consistency in the level of interaction. Moving on to finance. ESG investing is investing involving environmental, social, and governance factors in addition to financial benefits. They're used to assess sustainability and the ethical impact of a company prior to investing. Cash flow forecasting is the estimation of a company's cash inflows and outflows over a period of time to make informed financial decisions. Risk mitigation is the identification and assessment of the steps needed to lessen or avoid risks to a business. Finally, debt versus equity. Debt is money borrowed from a company that must be repaid, and equity is money gained by selling ownership shares in a company. Shifting to entrepreneurship, intellectual property is legal rights to protect inventions from the minds so that its inventors can use, sell, or license their works to the use of copyrights, patents, and trademarks. Franchising is when the franchisor, the owner of the brand, allows the franchisee, an independent operator, to use its brands, products, and systems in exchange for fees. MVP, or minimum viable product, is the simplest version of a product with only its core features to get user feedback for improvement. Finally, pivoting methodology is a strategic shift in business model, product, or approach due to data or trends. Finally, on to business administration. Employee onboarding is welcoming and training new employees so they understand all procedures, tools, and expectations. Overhead is current business expenses not tied to the production of goods or services like rent, utilities, or salaries. Operational efficiency is the ability of a business to deliver products and services effectively while minimizing costs. You want the maximal output with optimal input. And finally, supply chain transparency is accurate and accessible information about how and where goods were made. All of these buzzwords specifically tie into key performance indicators, those KPIs, for role plays, as they're typically found within the KPIs themselves. It is very difficult to perform and score well, especially if you do not know or understand a word or phrase being the buzzword within the performance indicator. To practice these, Wisconsin DECA has an amazing resource, the Competition Cabinet. All you need to do is go to wideca.org and then members to find the Competition Cabinet. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Competitive Excellence series of Buzzwords and Trends to be aware of. I'm Aubrey Mcguire. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on my Instagram at aubs.mcguire. Thank you.